Thank you for coming out to see live comedy. Give yourselves a round of applause. That's awesome. It's good. It's good to support live entertainment because you could just be dicking around on Instagram, watching unfunny videos, but you're not. You're out here, which is great. And I think that live comedy is probably the second best thing you can do in a bar. The first, obviously, being bar trivia. There is nothing better than bar trivia. It's a very divisive issue, as you can tell by the 3 people who went woo. People either love bar trivia or hate it. There's basically 2 camps. People who take it too seriously and people who don't take it seriously enough. Can you guess which camp I fall into? I love bar trivia. It's fantastic. But it really kind of depends on what the prize is. That kind of dictates how serious it's going to go. Sometimes you just go and the prize is 10% off your bill, or you get credit towards the bar. But I used to go to this one where every person who came for trivia had to pay $5, and that $5 went into a pool, and then at the end of the night, the winning team got to pick numbers out of a hat, and every number corresponded to a prize. One number was a round of shots for your table, whatever, but one number was all the money in the pool. And if that number didn't get picked, that rolled over to the next week. So sometimes you'd go to this bar at the end of the month, and the prize money is $450. And you have never seen friendships end so quickly. That shit was bananas. That was like a fucking thesis dissertation in the human existence. That was, you would go in and they would just ask questions. The announcer would be like, this woman was the first female attorney general. And you would just look around at all the tables and somebody's like, oh, I think it's Janet Reno. And somebody's like, oh, you think it's Janet Reno? Well, you also thought the answer was Spanish Armada 2 questions ago, and you really fucked us on that one. So you know what, Dave? Go ahead, put down Janet Reno. Oh, but just so you know, if you're wrong, I'm going to tell the server to cancel our order of fries, and we're going to eat you. We're going to cut you up and throw you in a deep fryer and eat your ass, Dave. And then the announcer's like, the answer is Janet Reno. Dave, I'm sorry. Look, it's just, I'm about to be evicted, and this is my last chance to pay rent. I'm really sorry, Dave. I'm really sorry. The best part about bar trivia, though, is the team names. That's the best part. That's all anyone cares about, is coming up with witty-ass team names and being snarky as shit. The best and worst team name I've ever heard for bar trivia is Lawrence O'Trivier. And you're like, how can that get any douchier? Well, it gets douchier because that team was composed of the entire cast of Mad Men. So I used to live in LA, and I would go to bar trivia at this bar every Wednesday. And every Wednesday, the entire cast of Mad Men would come. All of them. Jon Hamm, January Jones, those other fucks nobody knows, they were all there. And they would win every week, because there was a bunch of them, and it was LA, so the trivia was very entertainment industry-centric. And they would clean up. Every week they would win. Except for the one week they didn't win, and guess who beat them? Me and my friends from Philly, and our team name was Team Dick Towel. Always Sunny fans will get that. Are there any parents in the crowd? Awesome. Your happiest moment was probably the day that your first child was born. And I'm sure that's pretty happy, but I can tell you right now, it does not compare to beating Jon Hamm's ass in trivia. That shit is dope. I fucking rode that for 2 years. I would go into job interviews and they'd be like, what is your greatest strength? Beating Jon Hamm's ass in trivia. How about that? Okay, what about your biggest weakness? How about I tell you Jon Hamm's biggest weakness? It's geography, because that bitch doesn't know world capitals for shit. That's what I thought. So I had this weird, I wasn't planning to talk about Jon Hamm for the remainder of my set, but I'm going to. This is odd, but I had this weird ongoing relationship with Jon Hamm when I was in LA. So I moved to LA, and after a week, I go to my friend's birthday party, and it's at an ice skating rink. And he's got karaoke and pizza and beer, whatever. And so I'm skating, and I get off the ice, and I walk over to the keg. This is not how I walk, but this is how I walk with ice skates when I'm not on ice. You get that. So I walk over to the keg to get a beer, and I start filling up the beer. The keg starts to run a little dry, so I go to give it a few pumps, but somebody does it for me. And I look up, and I'm like, oh, thanks. And this dude in a Cardinals cap looks up, and he's like, you're welcome. I'm like, holy shit, that's Jon Hamm. And he's crushing that scarf that he is wearing. I get it, it's Vermont, it gets cold. Dudes, you probably wear a lot of scarves. You're not wearing a scarf. Jon Hamm is wearing a scarf. Right? And he's sick at ice skating too, by the way. Frontwards, backwards, all the words, he's sick. So I'm like, oh, this is crazy. It's such an LA moment. I met Jon Hamm. Then a week later, I go to that trivia for the first time, and I meet his team. So then, once a week, every week, for a year and a half, I hang out with Jon Hamm. Not together, but we're in the same building. Okay? Jump cut 2 years later. It's my last 6 months in LA, and I have this job at a butcher shop. And I'm standing behind the counter, cutting some filet mignon, because it's a fancy butcher shop in a fancy part of town. And who should walk in the door but Jon motherfucking Hamm? And he walks up to me, and he's like, hey, can I get 4 New York strips? And I look at him and I go, sure, anything for Lawrence Olivier. You should have seen his face. You should, his eyes got wide, and he was just like, who are you?